So those are some shots of your university, and I hope they bring back some happy memories of your time here. Now, the main reason for making this video is to record your graduation. Today, you join the graduates of the university, and at the moment, those are about 80,000 in all. Moreover, they come from all countries, and they're now spread in all corners of the world. So this is a university, not just a university of the United Kingdom, but a university that is recognized worldwide. It is a large university and an important one, and in graduating from it, you've done well. We, of course, like all other universities in the United Kingdom, are at the moment under some pressure. Society is wishing its universities to change, and the University of Manchester is no exception. So continuously, we have to move forward to adapt to what is required and to abandon what is no longer required. We believe we're doing that. But there are one or two things that remain constant and can't be changed. We, when we educate our students from this university, are very keen that they should be able to do various important things. They should be able to marshal fact, develop argument, and above all, I think, have a regard for the truth. And we hope we've done that as far as you're concerned. But enough of all that. Now on to the video of the graduation itself. On behalf of the university and all my colleagues who share this platform with me this afternoon, I'd like to wish you a very warm and hearty welcome here to the university this afternoon. First of all, I want to offer a personal congratulation to all the graduates who are getting their degrees today. For you and for all of us, it's an occasion of special celebration. First, because you worked so hard to achieve this success, and it's also an occasion of special celebration for your family and friends, all those people who are here today to share this occasion with you. But I would like you, and we should all spare a thought for those amongst you whose parents and friends can't be here today. I'm sure they're thinking of you now, and we're all very sorry that they aren't here. Now, in doing well enough to get a degree today, you've certainly achieved something, and you've every right to be proud. The undergraduate degrees in the United Kingdom are amongst the shortest in the world, but I think by general repute, they're arguably of the highest quality. And our postgraduate qualifications, I think, either by research or by taught courses, challenge comparison with any in the world. So those of you who are graduating today have indeed passed a stiff test. Earlier on, I mentioned parents, relatives, and friends, and to them, on this sort of occasion, I always like to give a special vote of thanks, because student life, even sometimes with mature students, produces great pressure, and it's a rare student we find who passes his or her time here without at some stage or other having to call for help on family or friends. It's, for us in the university, an enormous source of reassurance to discover the readiness with which that help comes forward, and its warmth, and the great help to all of us in the university that comes from that. So I think on an occasion like this, we mustn't let that go unrecorded. Now to one or two more general things. I feel myself that we've now, today, almost to the day, as it were, reached a rather important point in education in this country, because I think there are a large number of changes which are now beginning to accumulate and which face all of us. I think there's to be a serious attempt now to think of a national curriculum. I think I'm right in saying that we're one of the few countries in Europe that does not have such a curriculum, and of course the French have had it from the time of Napoleon. I don't think we will ever go to their lengths when it's said that on any particular day you know what all the children in all the schools of France are doing to the very word in the very book that they're using. But I do think that some form of national curriculum is likely to come, and I think that there are many positive things to be said about that. I think another thing that is evolving rapidly is the whole question of public examinations. And I think we can foresee now, even though it may be rather an uneasy situation or an uneasy prospect for a lot of people, that the A-level is likely to become less dominant as an index of university entrance. I think this is because a much wider group of ages and much wider group of people with different qualifications will come as students to our universities. There's been a great deal of talk of widening access, and I'm sure all in universities wish to see that come about. It's not just a question of a resource. I think there is a very real feeling amongst those who teach in universities that we do have to diversify both our intake and our output. And that will bring a lot of changes in its wake. I think also we are coming to the stage where university education won't necessarily end with a degree. More and more we are finding ourselves involved in continuing education of one kind and another, and I think the students who are graduating over the next few years will find that their formal degree qualification is just a step to continuing education in or around or in contact with the university continuously through their lives. Now, for my part, I welcome these changes, and I think universities such as Manchester will rise to the challenges they bring, but there have, of course, to be safeguards that we must protect at all costs. In a certain sense, the widening of access, if it's allowed to go in too uncontrolled a way, may well be the enemy of quality, and there is a balance there that has to be faced and has to be controlled. And I think access to education must not, and I feel this very deeply, and many of my colleagues do too, mustn't be dominated on the financial circumstances of the student. In other words, I think if education, university education, is to be rationed, and one doesn't terribly like the word, that has to be in terms of ability and not in terms of ability to pay. Now, all this needs a dialogue, and a very active dialogue, I believe, between the universities and the government, or educators broadly and the government at all levels. And I think, if one may say so, that this has to be a dialogue with the educational advantage of the individual who's being educated at the point of focus, and not narrow political or sectarian views of the matter. I do hope this can develop in a very positive and constructive way, because I think there are many useful things that can be done for education in this country over the next few years. So, as I say, because of these and other developments, I'm sure we'll see universities change greatly in the years leading up to the end of this century. But above all this, there is a fundamental truth to which we must remain constant. We are here to train people to think and to marshal fact and to develop argument and to deploy those arguments, and above all, to respect the truth. And this is a role which has produced great success for Britain over the centuries. It's a hard road for people to follow, as the graduates who are graduating today know only too well. So back to today. Although you who are graduating have finished your degree course and will now get your degrees, you've no reason at all to sever your links with the university. Indeed, I hope you won't. When you sign the graduate register, you'll become a member of Convocation, and that's a body of our graduates which has its own place in the university and which exists to keep us in touch with one another. We're fortunate to have a very active Convocation in Manchester, and I hope you'll play your part in that particular organization. Also, as a graduate, you'll receive at intervals a magazine outlining recent events in the university, and I hope you'll find this interesting. So now, those of you who are to receive your degrees, congratulations, and the very best of good wishes for your future. Thank you very much.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Muriel Longmynd Bird. Donald Peter Henry.
Well done.
Mary Elizabeth Hewson.
Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Master in Education, Janet Oyefunke Akinola.
Well done.
Geoffrey Antcliffe.
Well done.
Christopher Jeffrey Bridge. Keith Bridge.
Well done.
Catherine Kamling Chan.
Well done.
Diana Popo Cheong.
Well done.
Anne Denise Coggin.
Well done.
Philippa Ruth Alice Cook.
Well done.
Micah Oliver Cummings.
Well done.
Jane Davis.
Well done.
Catherine Pamela Duck.
Well done.
Tony Jacqueline Page Goodman.
Well done.
Audrey Harris.
Well done.
Mary Joanna Hickey. Mervyn Lawrence Lee.
Well done.
Stella Mariah Lancaster.
Well done.
Gerard Ludlow.
Well done.
Alan Andrew Melville.
Well done.
Judith Mary Miller. Ian Barry Paget.
Well done.
Valerie Ann Robinson. Eileen Patricia Smith. Marvick Spittery.
Well done.
Michael Stephen Walsh.
Well done.
Elizabeth Ann Webb. Evelyn Williams.
Well done.
Sheila Ann Wilson.
Well done.
Paul Mansell Winter.
Well done.
Serena Kitsum Young.
Well done.
And for the degree of Master of Philosophy, Harold Greenhalgh.
Well done.
Michael Ongolo Ndongo. Helen Louise Payne.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Master of Arts in Theology, Edward Thomas Birmingham.
Well done.
For the degree of Master of Philosophy, John Reader.
Well done.
For the degree of Bachelor of Divinity with Honours, Ian George Tompkins.
Well done.
Peter John Meek.
Well done.
David Richard William Sample.
Well done.
William Nicholas John Stanyon.
Well done.
David John Legg.
Well done.
Pamela Joyce Petit.
Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Faculty of Education in Combined Studies, Catherine Eleanor Taylor.
Well done.
Sarah Bowen. Pamela Ann Bradley. Lorraine Mary Boudlas. Samantha Jane Cheng Si Chan. Christine Margaret Harris.
Well done.
Catherine Lucy Hill.
Well done.
Alison Jane Jones.
Well done.
Philippa Claire Lloyd.
Well done.
Carolyn Shillito.
Well done.
Alison Dorothy Taylor. Louise Caroline Townsend.
Well done.
Helen Ruth Turner.
Well done.
Ruth Welburn.
Well done.
Helen Ann Andrews.
Well done.
Wendy Booth.
Well done.
Susan Elizabeth Cooper.
Well done.
Suzanne Doughty. Julie Helen Houston. Amanda Catherine Machin.
Well done.
Margaret Louise Nolan. Melinda Sproston. Marika Claire Sturdy.
Well done.
Sarah Louise Wellings.
Well done.
Catherine Mary Williams. Colette Golcher.
Well done.
And for the degree of Bachelor of Science in the Faculty of Education in Speech Pathology and Therapy, Jane Margaret Alderson. Diana Frances Billigheimer. Sarah Ruth Brandon.
Well done.
Sean Lovell Carlton. Angela Elizabeth Fell. Sally Ferris.
Well done.
Deborah Sarah Holmes.
Well done.
Sarah Judith Keane. Holly Taylor. Helen Ruth Blaine. Melanie Caroline Crawshaw. Sandra Ruth Lewin. Sheena Joanne McIntyre. Diane Mary Snowden. Anne Louise Torrance. Suzanne Alexandra Wilson.
Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you, for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Faculty of Theology with honours, Heidi Caroline O'Connor.
Well done.
Paul Andrew Riley.
Well done.
Melanie Boast.
Well done.
Jill Bromley. Alison Katrina Cliff. Anne Patricia Dolby. Sally Ann Duncan. Margaret Teresa Ann Durack. Richard Dwyer. Anne Margaret Fisher. Sharon Joy Dyer.
Well done.
Gillian Irene Ford.
Well done.
Peter Robert French. Andrew James Heslop.
Well done.
Claire Elizabeth Hunt.
Well done.
Catherine Ann Lawrence.
Well done.
Angela Elizabeth Salt.
Well done.
Jonathan Sharp.
Well done.
Matthew James Hamilton Shelley.
Well done.
Jane Skews.
Well done.
Diana Speed.
Well done.
Sarah Nancy Townsend.
Well done.
Elizabeth Helen Tully.
Okay.
Andrew John Egan.
Well done.
Teresa Mary Friel.
Well done.
Michael Anthony Reginald Goodman.
Well done.
Joy Elizabeth Hamilton.
Well done.
Sarah Frances Morell.
Well done.
Susan Ann Noakes.
Well done.
Martin Speakman.
Well done.
Rachel Clare Bonsall.
Well done.
For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in the Faculty of Theology, Arthur Charles Beswick.
Well done.
Tamora Catherine Dawson.
Well done.
Leslie Henry Murdoch.
Well done.
David Perry.
Well done.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Education with Honours, Ruth Allison Draper.
done.
Jeanette Damaris Brooke.
Well done.
Barbara Ann King. Julia Ann Oates.
Well done.
Jennifer Sarah Pitt.
Well done.
Christine Ryder.
Well done.
Judith Lowe.
Well done.
And for the ordinary degree of Bachelor Education, Sarah Wendy Bedborough. Heather Gillian Clare.
Well done.
Hazel Ann Clegg.
Well done.
Catherine Ann Lawrence. Karen Jane Rowley.
Well done.
Andrea Anna Maria Russell.
Well done.
Jacqueline Ann Bailey.
Well done.
Debbie Bentham. Susan Jane Broomfield. Louise Patricia Butcher. Jill Ann Chisnell.
Well done.
Anne Marie Clark.
Well done.
Alison Helen Clough.
Well done.
Claire Hankey.
Well done.
Emma Louise Hodgson.
Well done.
Deborah Jean Holden.
Well done.
Pamela Valerie Hopwood.
Well done.
Helen Elizabeth Trevelyan.
Well done.
Rebecca Louise Wim.
Well done.
And for the ordinary degree of Bachelor of Arts, Philippa Helen Carter. Michelle Louise Chowdhury.
Well done.
Catherine Mary Latham. Julie Rose Marshall.
Well done.
Patricia Maxwell. Linda Magdalene Andrew.
Well done.
Vita Gordon. Larissa Louise Quarry.
Well done.
Tasneem Shah.
Well done.
Ian Robert Stokes.
Well done.
Laverne Gabrielle Ogufbu Aruotore. Joanne Nicola Gibbs. Ruth Harari. Karen Jane Higginson.
Well done.
Karen Marie Johnson. Catherine Alison Louise Jones.
Well done.
Clayton Ramsey. Stephanie Mireille Sultan.
Well done.
Anita Helen Rita Swindles. Robbie Thomas Williams.
Well done.
And for the ordinary degree of Bachelor of Science in Speech Pathology and Therapy, Phoebe Margaret Smith.
Well done.
Joanne Drew. Eileen Hindle.
Well done.
Kate Kimberley.
Well done.
Siobhan Mary McMahon.
Well done.
Gillian K. Neary.
Well done.
Wendy Jane Otley.
Well done.
Alexandra Christine Williams. Diane Younger. Elaine Joan Ashcroft.
Well done.
Catherine Mary Carter.
Well done.
Jan Marie Didriksen.
Well done.
Sally Jane Evans.
Well done.
Lynn Florence. Marilyn Diane Gethick.
Well done.
Susan Elizabeth Howley.
Well done.
Claire Keohane.
Well done.
Katie Claire Demain Law.
Well done.
Laura Margaret Martin.
Well done.
Elizabeth Reed Monroe.
Well done.
Carol Tipping.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present you for the ordinary degree of Bachelor of Arts, Julie Day,
Well done.
Belinda Louise Hollows,
Well done.
Brendan Aspel,
Well done.
Carol Ann Austin,
Well done.
Paul Marius Brannigan,
Well done.
James Gillespie, Catherine Joy Haynes,
Well done.
Judith Pamela Lee,
Well done.
Edwin George Marshall. Deborah Jane Louise Risby. Jenny Amanda Wybrow. Lynn Jane Wilkins. Joan Louise Appleby. Alison Best. Denise Beverly Blackwell. William David James Brown. Grant Thomas John Cassidy. Ruth Charlton. David Ian Durow. Penelope Mary Rose Eaton. Simon John Eves. Nicholas James Flynn. Richard John Franklin. Brian Gallagher. Peter Michael Gibbs. Stephen Hazley. Layla Hibbs. Jeremy Gordon Hindmarsh. Sophie Joy Hobby. Valerie Ives. Alison Jones. Jeffrey Mark Lowton. Jonathan David Lyons. Paul Marshall. Valerie Claire Matthews. Graham John Money. Samantha Elizabeth Morrison. Richard Nicholas Moss. Christopher Mark Nichols. Peter John Oakey. Malcolm Andrew Padley,
Well done.
Sarah Rosalie Palmer,
Well done.
Christopher Patrick Reeves,
Well done.
David Jonathan Samuels, Judith Ann Scott-Smith,
Well done.
Karen Jane Smallwood, Barbara Gillian Spivey, Linda Francis Statham,
Well done.
Timothy Paul Sumpter,
Well done.
Kevin John Taylor,
Well done.
Catherine Mary Walker,
Well done.
Fiona Louise Walters,
Well done.
and Joanna Elizabeth Whitehill.
Well done. Salva sit universitas nostra Mancuniensis hoc precantis consurgamus. So now you're leaving the university and going out to start a career in the world. We here in the university wish you the very best of luck. We're sure you'll do very well. When you graduate, as you've just done, you join a body of university graduates called Convocation. This body serves two purposes. First of all, it allows us to keep in touch with you, and we do this by the publication from time to time of a magazine, which we call Manchester Graduate. It'll tell you what's happening in the university, what's new, what's going on, how we're changing, how we're keeping up with the times. But we also want you, through Convocation, or indeed by contact with your old professors and tutors, to let us know what you're doing, how you're getting on in the world, what your experiences have been. This is very interesting to us. Please don't neglect to do it. So now, the world awaits you. Good luck.